I'm going to start with just the first question because we always like to know, in the early days, sir, what inspired you? What led you to get into education? There were so many, perhaps, job opportunities, but you chose education. Could you tell us what inspired you? What influenced
Yeah,
you to get into education?
yeah. I think it is basically genetic, something, a quality that was inherited from my father. Because in my formative years, like any child, it was my father who was the biggest influence on me. And whenever I saw him, the glimpse I still remember is he was either reading a book or having a discussion with a peer group. That is how I saw him, and that is how I grew up. Maybe that was the biggest influence. And to this day, honestly, I'm not good at the art of small talk. If I have to speak, it may be about language or literature or history or philosophy or math or computers or anything. But if there is something academic, I can speak. Otherwise, I don't become active in a conversation. So because of this quality, I think by default, I had to be a teacher, because teaching is the only occupation which fulfills this basic requirement of me. All the time, I must be either reading books or having a discourse with someone. And since teaching is the only avenue which offers this possibility, perhaps that was the reason I became a teacher and I stuck to it. Yeah.
Okay, so that was what you did first, was teaching, but now obviously you are teaching teachers as well as students. Could you tell us a
Yep.
little bit about your current position?
Currently, I'm working for a startup called School Crop. I am the co-founder of this. And in this, the goal is particularly keeping in view the K-12 segment of Indian budget school framework, developing resources that can optimize the classroom experience and make it more effective and productive. Towards that, uh, regarding the interaction that happens between or that is supposed to happen between teachers and students in a classroom. What resources can best boost that? The development of such resources is what I am working towards right now.
What sort of resources?
Yeah, because basically my experience tells me children in classrooms, what are the things that really interest them? When I think of it, only two things come to my mind. I mean, out of my experience, what I felt is, for something to be interesting, it must be either in a storytelling format and along with a visual experience, preferably along with an illustration. Or the other alternative, the other option is something like a game. Unless it is a story or a game, the school kids would not really take an interest in it. That is what I felt all the way. So visual resources for use in classroom, which will convert everything into either a story or a game. That is the objective.
And what is it really that is required for you to input so that it comes out and benefits the students?
Yeah, what we do is we look at the curriculum framework. What are the topics that are required to be covered for various grades? So we identify individual episodes, and on each of them, we create a narrative. The narrative includes the description in a storytelling format, along with the visuals that will make the impact complete.
Wow.
How do teachers obtain these resources?
Of course, we are right now, it is in the process of development, and in the second week of March, we are about to launch a pilot in 5 schools in Hyderabad of India. So that will tell us what else needs to be done in this entire setting. And we are done with the development of resources for grade 10 right now. So for all subjects, for languages, maths, sciences, and social studies, geography, history, and politics and economics. These are the things we are already done with. And with these things, we are launching a pilot for grade 10 students in 5 schools in starting from March 2nd week. And thereafter, it has to be continued. In the next 12 months, we hope to be done with the other grades also. K to 12, that is the segment we target.
So this would be academic subjects only.
Entirely academic, because keeping in mind, I mean, it is not just learning for learning's sake. Of course, learning and excitement, this is very much a part of it. But more than that, they have a need called board exams and certifications, and for that also, this should suffice.
Right. Yes. There's also the specification by the NEP about including social emotional curriculum into the academic, weave it into the academic curriculum. Is that something you're planning to consider as well?
Yes, yes. Of course, this this new education policy 2020, I think it doesn't make any radical changes. I mean, in terms of concept and in terms of curriculum, it doesn't make any radical changes. Only there are technical changes like how the certification is done, how the exam format is revised. Only in terms of these things, there is a difference, but otherwise the curriculum remains same. In math or science, in physics or chemistry, we are not, it is in chemistry, it is going to be the same atomic structure and same chemical bonding and the same periodic classification, which the students will be required to learn and master.
Wow.
So when it comes to the content, there is not much change. It's only what you call the processes might change, but not the concept itself.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So let me, if I could get a little bit personal about teachers a little bit, because I hear from time to time that teaching is not often the first choice of people's career choices, but if they can't get into something else, well, then they decide they'll teach. So could you talk to us a little bit about what you how you hope to inspire teachers and how your resources will in fact give them more of what they need to be the teacher that they're intended to be?
Because I was born in India, and all my life I've been in India. I've never been to any other country. So what I'm familiar with is the typical Indian, especially the middle class Indian schooling situation. And within this, as you said, one thing is the cream, the best of the students, I mean, in terms of IQ. The best of the lot always goes into professional careers like engineering or medicine or research. They go into these areas. And it is often remarked like a joke in the Indian context that only someone who is fit for nothing else becomes a teacher. That is how they put it.
I've heard that.
It is, though it is unfair to say that, but since that is how the reality is, at least in most rural parts of India. India is a vast country with 1.4 billion population. Is not a small thing, and with we have about 30 crore Indian students right now in up to grade 10. I mean, the numbers up to grade 10, there are 300 million. That is the number of students in schools here. And I don't think it's the biggest challenge. Being able to find the right teachers for all these millions is a very big challenge, really.